Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm Andy Rodriguez. I'm the Park Director with the City of St. Paul Parks and Recreation Department. Today marks a meaningful step in a journey of collaboration and shared learning with Dakota leaders. Last fall, we formalized a partnership through a co-management agreement with Wakan Tipi Awanyangapi, returning Dakota stewardship to a sacred site of deep cultural and spiritual significance. Now, through the restoration of Dakota names to these sacred places, we recognize and honor the connection between the Dakota people and this land. We are proud to reaffirm our commitment to ensuring that our public spaces reflect and respect Dakota heritage and culture, not just today, but always. Thank you for joining us for this important moment. It's now my honor to welcome Mayor Melvin Carter to share a few words.
Thank you, Director Rodriguez. I appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us here today. Lieutenant Governor, it's an honor to see you. It's an honor to host you here in City Hall. Of course, Council Members Shavatsky and Johnson, thank you so much for your leadership. We'll be as brief as we can. We know we have to get you into your council meeting. I'm Melvin Carter, and I get to serve as the mayor of the City of St. Paul. Today is a good day. Today is a sacred day. And I know that we would not exist without the leadership of our St. Paul Parks and Recreation team, and certainly our meaningful partnership with our Native American community. I want to thank all the folks who have done incredible work to get us to this space. We often begin events with land recognitions. We pause and recognize that this land is traditionally Dakota land. And then we sort of go on with our lives. That doesn't feel like enough. Those land recognitions always feel like something that demands action more than just words. And I'm proud to live in a city that acts on our values. As Director Rodriguez said, we entered into that co-management agreement last year, and this renaming continues on the momentum that we built there. I want to thank all the folks in our Department of Parks and Recreation, Director Rodriguez, Alice, Ellen, Claire, all of the folks who have worked to get us there. I certainly want to thank Council Members Carter and Lee for your partnership and for being here with us today as well. And I certainly want to thank Director Maggie Lorenz for walking with us on this important journey of discovery and reconciliation. We exist first and foremost because of our Dakota community, and we stand here today as a promise to honor that legacy and protect these ancestral homelands. I want to be clear, this renaming, I believe, honors our former Congressmember Bruce Vento's legacy. Congressman Vento, I'll hold it. Don't forget this. We're at the City of St. Paul. Congressman Vento was a supporter of tribal sovereignty, a supporter of treaty rights, and a champion for our environment. I am proud of the way in which this renaming honors and continues to build upon the legacy of the body of work that he gave to our state, that he gave to our country, and that he performed in close partnership with our tribal communities as allies in recognition of tribal sovereignty. The names that we are instilling today and the encompassing cultural landscape were never forgotten. These names lived on in Dakota communities in their language and in their hearts, passed on from generation to generation, and these sacred names will continue to identify these lands as such. New signage will serve to share this story and educate visitors on the Dakota legacy and language. These names are not just words. They're acts of remembrance and resistance, honoring the Dakota people's enduring presence and spiritual connection to this land. The action today is not about rewriting history. It's about acknowledging the land we stand on is and always has had Dakota names, Dakota meaning, and Dakota caretakers. It's about choosing to center Indigenous voices in how we move forward as a city. I want to thank the Tribal Historic Preservation Officers and the leaders and elders of the Prairie Island Community, Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux Community, Lower Sioux Community, Lower Sioux Indian Community, and Upper Sioux Community for guiding this work. And again, thank you, Maggie, for spearheading this renaming and making it a reality. Your vision and friendship will continue to inform how we care for these sacred places for generations to come. And now I'll introduce my friend and big sister, Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, my big brother, Melvin Carter. Well, Buju, Peggy Flanagan, Adishnakaz, Gijuwewa Damakwe, and Dago, Guabagaga, Nikagnan Dunjaba, Mangindo Dame. My name's Peggy Flanagan. My Ojibwe name is Speaks in a Loud and Clear Voice Woman. I'm a member of White Earth. My family's a Wolf Clan, and I'm so honored and humbled to be the token Ojibwe person who is here with all of you today. So it's an honor to be here, standing with the city of St. Paul, community leaders, and so many partners who have worked with care, respect, and purpose to help us to reach this historic moment. The renaming of Indian Mounds Regional Park and Vento Nature Sanctuary is not just a correction of the historical record, it is an act of restoration, of resilience. For generations, these sites have held deep, sacred meaning for the Dakota people. And for too long, the truth has been overlooked or ignored in how we named, managed, or talked about this land. Today, we are all taking a meaningful step forward, a step that acknowledges the full truth and the full history, one that centers Indigenous voices and decisions that are made about Indigenous lands. This work, led by the Dakota community, guided by elders, and supported by Wakantipi Ayan, help me do this the right way, Awanyankapi. Okay. Dakota is not my first or second or even third language, but reflects a powerful and ongoing commitment to cultural healing, truth-telling, and partnership. And I want to just name the tribal consultation that occurred here. It's powerful. And it is how this work should happen. We have been on a journey at the state, working to ensure that we have strong tribal-state relations. And when municipalities also do this work, it is critical, it is key, and how we should continue to work together in partnership. I want to thank everyone who made this possible, from community members who spoke up to the tribal historic preservation officers who led the way, and city and state leaders who listened, learned, and took action. As we look ahead to the grand opening of the Wakantipi Center, let us carry this moment forward with humility, with reverence, and with resolve to continue to honor the sacred sites that tell the story of this land and First Peoples. And let me just say this. What moves me so much in this moment is that with this work that is happening, it acknowledges that Dakota and Native people have always been here, are still here, and will remain here into the future. Indigenous people are a significant part of the story of St. Paul and the story of Minnesota Makoche as well. So honored and humbled to be here, and want to thank so much the leadership of so many people here, but in particular, Council Member Shaniqua Johnson, who it's my pleasure to introduce next. Council Member.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Lieutenant Governor. I just genuinely know that there's a lot of excitement and desire for change today, and I am honored to serve as the council member for Ward 7 on St. Paul's East Side. So the same exact sanctuary that we are renaming is in my ward. I want to begin by just expressing my deep gratitude to Ward 7 resident, but also friend Maggie Lorenz as the executive director of Wakantipi Awankapi. Thank you for your leadership in reshaping St. Paul's history. I think when we were looking at our space, and I was even reminded today how important it is to take your page and your legacy within our own history, and to the wonderful words of not rewriting it, but being intentional about ensuring that the narrative we pass on to so many generations and the future of our city and the future of the things that our students can learn and my kids and our kids can carry with them is the correct and accurate way that we are able to acknowledge land that was never ours, in spaces that we have place to be able to give back. And so, you know, to me, this is not about just restoring a name, but it's about restoring the truth, the memory, and the connection, and reinforcing tribal protections that we are ensuring that future generations will continue to experience that as well. That, to me, is the history that I want to read about 50 years from now, 60 years from now. St. Paul is the city that we call home and that we love. It sits on the sacred birthplace of Dakota people, but it also has history that continues to need to be corrected, and a space to be able to talk about the real truth that, as you've heard today, the Dakota remains our neighbors, but more importantly, they need to continue to be our partners and this ongoing pathway to pursuing collective justice and healing. So this work requires that everyone who walks through what was previously known as Vento Nature Sanctuary or watches the sunset at Indian Mounds Park both acknowledges and understands exactly the land that they're standing on. So I'm looking forward to the signage. I'm looking forward to the decisions today at the council. I'll be heading out to go and do that business. But I really want to share just how beautiful it is to have multiple generations of leadership alongside me and around me. And I think that's the beauty that lies within being able to maybe learn something in bringing forth and consulting our community leaders, our tribal leaders, our educators, our folks that are taking positions in executive directors, but also in government and in work and spaces of saying, hey, this is important. I was reminded today, literally an hour ago, about why this all started in the first place, and I think it's something to just reiterate. Community members have continued to talk about the need for us to make more intentionality around not just acknowledging that this is Dakota land, but really being able to put power behind words, action, community engagement behind intent. And I see this as an action today, and so I'll be stepping out to support that today and hoping to join all of my colleagues in what I hope to be a unanimous support here at the local level, just to show that the efforts that has been in, the leadership that has taken place will not be in vain, but to continue this piece of what I'd like to say reshaping history. So thank you all for your partnership in this work, and thank you for just letting me be a part of my first press conference. And just genuinely want to appreciate all of the efforts and the multitude of years that have went into making this possible. Thank you, and I will bring up a great mentor and someone I consider a friend and a colleague, Met Council Member Carter.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if the order is not specific, and if in fact Director Lorenz. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will be having the honor to introduce you. I'm going to keep my comments here very short. Good afternoon. Can you all hear me? My name is Maggie Lorenz. I currently serve as the Executive Director for Shakopee Mdewakanton. We're a Native-led environmental stewardship nonprofit here in St. Paul, and our main focus is the stewardship of the site known as Shakopee, or currently Bruce Vento Nature Sanctuary. So, my role in this work has been really pumped up a little bit by some of my colleagues here who I really appreciate and have loved working with. But honestly, my work was really to facilitate this consultation process to happen, connecting and the partnership that we've built with the city and our partners like Ellen and Alice, Russ, Director Rodriguez. It's been such an honor to work with you all, and being able to make those connections with our tribal historic preservation officers. Frankie Jackson is here, the TIPO from the Prairie Island Indian Community, as well as our former president at Prairie Island Indian Community, Shelley Buck, who is currently serving as the executive director at Owamni in Minneapolis. The other TIPOs who worked on this project, Cheyenne St. John, Samantha Odegaard, Noah White, and Leonard Wabasha. What an honor to be able to have been able to be part of facilitating this relationship, stewarding this connection and this consultation to happen. I'm deeply honored to be here in this moment, and I want to recognize that this is happening not because of the work that I did or the work that Andy did or the work that Frankie did, but I mean, honestly, the work that generations of Dakota people have done and been doing to hold on to our culture, to preserve our history, and to advocate for our sacred places and our lands. And so we've been able to, and honored to be able to pick up this torch and carry the baton a little bit further, and so grateful for the leadership under Mayor Carter that this is happening today. So with that, I would love to introduce our esteemed Met Council member, Tony Carter.
Thank you to all who are here. Thank you so much for the work that has been done. I and Councilmember Chai Lee, who is here with me from the Metropolitan Council, are just delighted to be here to lift this moment up together with you. The Met Council is the regional planning organization for the 7-county metro area. Now, we must understand that to plan our future, all of us, to create meaningful plans for tomorrow, we must acknowledge and we must honor the people who have been here long before us, long before the cities and the metro area that we call home and that we're familiar with today. So today's recognition begins with something very fundamental, a name. Our regional park system spans 487 million miles of trails and parks, park reserves, and special features. These spaces welcome the diverse cultures and communities that make up the metropolitan area, from ice fishing or festivals or playgrounds or bike trails, ski races, to riverfront bird watching. It all takes place on Dakota land. The Met Council is leading the regional conversation through our regional plan, Imagine 2050, which gives the development of our region, including the regional parks and trail system, for the next 3 decades, I should say, which guides that. And we've engaged in extensive conversation and discussions with hundreds of regional partners to develop shared values and priorities. As part of Imagine 2050, the Met Council also meaningfully engaged with American Indian leaders in the region to jointly create an ongoing American Indian Advisory Council for the Met Council. This engagement resulted in commitments and actions across different policy arenas of our regional plan, including a commitment to re-examine place names as part of our regional parks and trails policy. We are committed to honoring the cultural connections for American Indian communities and for all communities of color. We recognize the cultural significance that many of the places in our regional system have, particularly for American Indian communities. So place naming and name restoration is one step toward honoring those connections that we are pleased to support today. Restoring Dakota names helps us to reweave the stories of the first people who have protected and who honor these lands and have since time memorial. It's important that our deep respect for Dakota heritage and history continues to guide us in taking this monumental step, ensuring that our region's public spaces truly reflect the full richness of our shared history. So thank you again, and I'm going to turn this over to someone who knows a lot more than me. That must be you.
Oh, is it me?
Well done.
Oh, okay, we'll go back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Carter. Councilmember Carter has been a mentor of mine for a very long time as well. Thank you so much all for being here. Thank you all for the work that has brought us to this space. As you can see, this is this renaming is the culmination of an enormous amount of teamwork that could not have been done by any one individual, or even, I should say, by the individuals standing here in front of the cameras right now. But that deep layers of community, deep layers of public servants have worked together to get us to this place. So thank you. We are honored to be able to continue to see this park continue to move forward as a sacred dwelling space for community members for generations to come. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
When does it start, the sign changing?
When do we expect to see the actual signs change?
Yeah, the answer is over the next couple months. As we work to finalize the interpretive center this fall, we'll work on the signage as well.
Any more questions?
Thanks a lot.
Oh, I think we'd have one more question.
So what has the city of St. Paul kind of learned through doing this process and working with this organization?
That's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, a new process for us in working alongside Maggie and others that in this space has been a strong learning experience. Learning that community members, elected officials, others all have different perceptions, views. There can be more than one right answer to some of these situations, and it's important that we listen. And I feel like we've done a really good job of that over the last year plus, and are in a good spot to approve this today.
Our administration centers around a simple concept, and that is that decisions are made to benefit the decision makers. And so for those of us who come into government buildings committed to building a set of decisions that benefit a broader set of people, our mission always has to be to broadening our set of decision makers. It's why we do our, why we appoint my cabinet through what we call our community hiring process. It's why we do our community budget games that we do kind of across the city. And so this is no different. We have to have a city that is responsive and responsible to our tribal communities and to communities across this community. And so we have been honored by the opportunity to work with tribal leaders. We've been honored by the opportunity to work with elders. We have been honored by the opportunity to work with our TIPOs and all of the different folks who came in to be a part of this, frankly, because I know very little about all of the things that have brought us to this point. And we rely on that community expertise to help this building, to help this office, to help the decisions that come out of these chambers be as relevant and helpful as possible. And I count this as a success of that process. It's not complete. It's never complete. As Director Rodriguez said, there's not only one answer, and we shouldn't always be looking for only one answer. There are many truths in community, and even the signage in these spaces will reflect that truth. Thank you all for being here.